Hello everyone, my name is Danny, and this review is for the movie called Little. Jordan Sanders, a take no prisoners tech mogul, wakes up one morning in the body of her 13-year-old self, right before a do or die presentation. Her beleaguered assistant, April, is the only one in the secret that her daily tormentor is now trapped in an awkward tween body, just as everything is on the line. This is a 2019 film. It is rated PG-13. It runs an hour and 50 minutes, and it stars Regina Hall, Marseille Martin, and Issa Rae. It has a pretty full cast. You might know some other people also. This is Little. Well, I'll start off by saying that this movie's pretty stupid, but uh, yeah, it's just kind of stupid. There's a lot of movies out there. I know people have their comedians that they just can't stand, and their actors that they just can't stand. And whenever that person does a project, you're like, oh, I'm not seeing that. Um, I don't know. There's nobody in this movie that does that for me, but like, there's also some movies that you just don't like want to redo and redo and overdo and remake and do sequels of and do another version of. And when this came out, you just like you don't do a movie like this. Like, it's we had the remake of What Women Want with What Men Want, and now we have Little. It's kind of a version of Freaky Friday and some other movies, and it just you. Yeah, it's supposed to be the version of Big, the female version, but I don't know. It just doesn't work. Okay, just because you have an idea doesn't mean you need to do it. And we have this thing where women are really doing movies, Ghostbusters and whatever else you want to say, and just because things are a thought doesn't mean they need to happen. That being said, I did watch this whole movie. I wasn't going to see it in theaters, so many months later, here we go. Finally saw this movie, and I watched the whole thing. There's a lot of stupid parts, but to be fair and to do a valid review, the worst part of this movie is the magic. There's no explanation. There's no voodoo. There's no anything. Seriously. And it's ridiculous. That's the stupidest part of the whole movie. Okay? The people in this make for an acceptable movie. This April, who's an assistant, you can identify with her. Having a crappy boss, having a crappy job, not being able to have movement to be promoted, not being appreciated for anything you do throughout every day. It doesn't get elaborated on, but it does present it to you so you can at least relate. And she's a very nice character, and she's kind of flirting with this guy, but she doesn't have the courage to be with him, and that's all relatable. So it's a nice character. April's a nice person. And then you have the kid, and you have the bigger version of her, Jordan. And there's a lot of different things in this movie. And I think the best part of it is where Jordan is little at school. And it has to deal with bullying, and it has to deal with fitting in. It has to deal with doing the right thing. There's a lot of those kind of elements that get brought up that are good things to bring up to any movie, and the fact that they're in this movie, it gives you times throughout the movie where you can at least smile. You can say you enjoyed yourself. You can say that it had a bright spot. You can say it had a good message. And those are all good things. So whether it does anything for it, I don't know. But it makes it feel good for a little bit. Yeah, there's other bad parts. The reaction by what's her name, Marseille Martin, when she when this supposed magic happens, and Marseille, Jordan realizes that she's in this little body. Marseille's reaction to it is just ridiculous. I don't know what they were going for there, but literally, Jordan goes into this little body, and it takes her half an hour or an hour timeline wise to figure out what's going on. It's like that needs to not be like that. That was horrible. Because when Jordan goes back into her big body later, Regina, her reaction is correct. She's like, I'm back. That's a normal reaction to magic happening. So there was really, that was the whole magic thing in this movie. They needed to figure out a different way to do that. They really did. There's no common sense to this movie. There's lots of things that are missing there. But I'll get back to the kids part of the movie because it has music and it has, this teacher that teaches class. He's just kind of thrown in there. He's not really important or anything. But there are some enjoyable aspects to it. There's some good jokes. There are some good conversations. There's some good elements to it. And then we get towards the end, and even though it's kind of a non-explained thing that I could rip apart, I'm not going to. There's a boy for Regina as a kind of a older woman. She is with him sometimes. And his situation that he has towards the end of the movie where he kind of becomes a good person, that's a good thing. And April gets to be with her guy, that's a good thing. That's going to be obvious throughout the movie, so I'm not giving anything away. And there's a nice little ending to it, with conclusion and, betterment of a harsh character. That's all good. So this is the biggest thing for me because I watch movies like this that can suck so bad, and the idea of the movie and the execution of the movie are so bad that it'd be so easy just to say this is horrible, I don't ever want to hear about it ever again. But I really did smile a lot. I really did like it a lot. And honestly, the whole idea of, the beginning scene, Jordan, the basis of the movie is that Jordan, it shows her in her past being a little kid and being picked on, and saying that when she gets older, she's going to be the one to pick on people because she'll be the boss. And that idea in itself is flawed. But it makes for an interesting movie and interesting conversation to have because I know we all kind of go through things. And I say this in this music group that I'm in that, that we only get put into hard situations because we're meant to get through them. That's the only reason why we get placed in any situation. And this movie presents that problem. That, a lot of people in this movie are just kind of in the movie. They have no purpose whatsoever. But Jordan is meant to be doing something. She's meant to be working her way through this situation. And it kind of gets overshadowed, but it's there. And so it presents something. And it makes all the stupid stuff that happens in this movie kind of be in the background of my mind when I'm thinking about it after I've watched it. And so, it's just interesting. It's one of those movies that you just have to mull over. It's one of the Worst movies that you've ever seen that's really, really interesting. So I'm gonna give Little a C minus. I really don't think it earns a D. I mean, it's just it's nagging me, and in the back of my mind that this is not an awful movie. It's really not. It's stupid, sure, but it's not awful. If that makes sense. Thanks, guys. My name is Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and get something to watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. C minus for Little. And thanks for watching. Try and watch some of my other videos if you would like to. And enjoy your movies, guys. Thanks.